Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pechanga Arena San Diego. My name is Andy Zilch, and today we have an exciting day. As the San Diego Gulls, General Manager Bob Ferguson and the entire San Diego Gulls organization is thrilled to introduce Kevin Dineen as the second head coach in team history. Before we begin, we would like to welcome and recognize Julian Redden, the Director of Hockey Operations, Matt Savant, the President of Business Operations for the San Diego Gulls, and the entire Gulls Executive Committee that oversees the business hockey operations for the club. Also, a special welcome to Kevin's wife, Annie, and also not in attendance, his 4 children, Hannah, Emma, William, Declan. And Kevin Dineen, we can get into his coaching history first and then his player history. He was an assistant coach for the Chicago Blackhawks from 2014 to 2018, helping lead the club to a Stanley Cup championship in 2015. He also spent 3 seasons as the head coach of the NHL's Florida Panthers from 2011 to 2013. There, he guided the club to a 56, 62, and 28 record, including its first Southeast Division title in 2011-2012 and their first playoff appearance in 12 years. Kevin spent 6 seasons as the head coach of the AHL's Portland Pirates from 2005 to 2011, leading his team to a 266 record, 155 losses and 59 overtime losses and ties in 480 games. Portland, which was Anaheim's primary development affiliate from 2005 to 2008, is where he went 135, 76, and 29 with 2 trips to the Eastern Conference Finals in his first 3 seasons as a head coach. He was also named the recipient of the Louis A.R. Pieri Memorial Award as the AHL's Outstanding Coach in 2005-2006. Internationally, Dineen led the Canadian women's national team to a gold medal at the 2014 Olympic Winter Games and also guided Canada's men's national team to a bronze medal at the 2014 Under-18 World Championship, with 8 players becoming full-time NHLers. As a player, Kevin also played 19 NHL seasons from 1984 to 2003. After being selected by the Hartford Whalers in the 3rd round of the 1982 NHL Draft, the Quebec City, Quebec native recorded 355 goals and 405 assists for 760 points and 2,229 penalty minutes in 1,188 career games. During that time, he played with Hartford, Philadelphia, Carolina, Ottawa, and Columbus. He also appeared in 59 career Stanley Cup playoff games with the Whalers, Flyers, Hurricanes, collecting 41 points while also serving as a captain for 3 NHL organizations. He also appeared in 2 NHL All-Star games and was named the NHL's Man of the Year for 1990-91 season in recognition of his involvement with charitable activities. Kevin also represented Canada in numerous international tournaments as a player, including the 1984 Winter Olympic Games and numerous World Championships, and was a finalist for the Bill Masterton Trophy on 3 occasions. And that is awarded annually to an NHL player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to ice hockey. We will begin with some opening remarks from both Bob and Kevin before opening it up to questions. First, Gulls General Manager, Bob Ferguson. You can stay there, Bob.
Well, first of all, on behalf of Henry and Susan Samueli, Jillian Redden, Matt Savant, Bob Murray, David McNabb, and everybody in the Gulls and Ducks organization, we want to thank everybody for being here. When we want to take this opportunity to publicly congratulate Dallas Eakins on his promotion to Anaheim, and it's comforting to know that the future of our organization is in good hands up in Anaheim with Dallas. With that being said, it's one of the reasons we're here today is the future of our organization. One of the things that we believe in as an organization, and and it is the development of players. And we've very fortunate to have a good crop of young players. A lot of them will be moving up to Anaheim next year. But one of the things we believe in is that when we're developing players, we not only want to develop them to play in the NHL, we want to develop them to win in the NHL. A lot of teams just say, hey, we'll work on hard and getting a player to the NHL, but we want our players to learn how to win in the NHL. And we feel with the hiring of Kevin, that's what we have. We'll go back to the 2007 Stanley Cup that Anaheim won. Kevin was with our organization at that part, coaching our development team. And a lot of players that were on that team, the two probably most noteworthy, Ryan Getzlaff, Corey Perry, developed and played under Kevin. So when the search began to replace, have someone come in, we wanted to go with somebody that's had success, knows how to develop players, has won, not only won at this level, but he's been a part of Stanley Cup organizations, most recently with Chicago. So we're very, very happy, very fortunate. We got someone that was going to be able to carry on the winning tradition, carry on the development of our players, and most importantly, not only develop them, but develop them in order to win in the NHL. And that's what we feel we have in Kevin, and we're very, very pleased today to announce Kevin Dineen as the next head coach of the San Diego Gulls.
Great, thanks Fergie, appreciate that. Very nice of you. Andy, thank you for that long resume. I always get a kick. And the only thing I always get the eye roll from my wife when the penalty minutes comes up right off the bat. That's the first thing. She gives me the roll her eyes. So anyways, good afternoon. I will begin by saying how thrilled I am to return to the Ducks organization and be named the second coach in San Diego Gulls history. A big thanks to Henry and Susan Samueli, Jillian Redden, Michael Schumann, Bob Murphy for this wonderful opportunity. You know what, the hockey world, it really is, it's a small fraternity, and San Diego is considered just one of the premier franchises in the American Hockey League. And whether you're talking to players, you're talking to coaches, management, which many are around here today, they just rave about our team and our fan base and the support that they received from the community. So we're thrilled to be a part of that. And in the area, you see the growth of hockey in San Diego. We were just talking that there's 7 rinks in the area. You see the players that are playing in junior, at the college level, and at the professional level that grew up in this area. Now, I did coach women's hockey as well, and I've really enjoyed seeing that Lady Duck logo next to a lot of ladies that are playing at the college level or representing their country at the international level. So we consider that to be part of our mission to grow the game at the grassroots level as well here in the area. So as Fergie mentioned, player development, it really is. It's always been a priority in the organization and will continue to be our goals to produce players to help the Ducks win their second Stanley Cup. Now, in saying that as well, we're on the heels of a Western Conference Finals appearance, and there's an expectation of success here. And I am really excited to begin the work necessary to help this team and help these young players grow into fine young men and into players that can help the Duck in the future. So I'm just thrilled to be here. My family and I, we are extremely excited to become a part of the community, and I appreciate you all taking the time today and coming out and welcoming us to San Diego. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Bob, and thank you, Kevin. Now for the media today, we're going to open it up for questions. Please raise your hand if you have a question for Bob or for Kevin. State your affiliate and your name, please, and we can get that kick started right away with the microphone.
Kevin, welcome. Hi, Bob. Lee Hamilton. I'm a freelance columnist and a talk show host. Kevin, when you got back to the NHL after the Florida experience and you were the assistant in Chicago,
right,
and then it ended badly when the staff got taken out, how do you draw the line? Should I try to get another NHL assistant job, or do I want to be a head coach, and am I willing to go back and ride the buses in the American League and, in essence, do what Dallas did?
Right. No, it's a good question, and I think you know what, you're a head coach for 9 years, you have a chance to run your own program, and something that I really enjoyed. And after we were let go in Chicago, I had a chance to represent Canada at the Spengler Cup this year, which was in Switzerland. Really enjoyed that experience, but for me, I was able to work with one of, if not the best coach ever in the game, in Joel Quenneville. And it was a fabulous number of years for me. I feel like I learned a bucket load of things from Joel, but I think when you decide what you're going to do, you really set your focus. And I felt like I wanted a chance to run my own program here again, and that's not through the NHL at this point. So to come back and be a part of an organization that, you know, it has such a great commitment to doing things the proper way, and that starts at the top with the Samuelis. It works into your whole program with your scouting staff, the players that I've seen when I was with the organization in the past. So that was kind of my thought process, that, yeah, it would have been nice to get back, and, you know, it's great when you're working with the best players in the world, but to come and work with these young players, there's great enjoyment in that as well.
Kevin, Bryce Miller, I'm a sports columnist at the Union Tribune in town. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bryce.
With your history with Florida and being an Olympic head coach and the stops in Chicago, with, as Fergie mentioned, the focus on development at this level, how are you uniquely positioned to fulfill that based on where you've been so far?
Well, I think you take something from everywhere you've been. I think that's part of the experience, and that's one of the things that you draw on, and I think that may end up putting your quote-unquote resume at the top of the list. That, yes, I've worked with Marian Hossa. I've worked with Duncan Keith for 4 to 5 years. I've also worked on the women's side of the game, which improves your communication skills. You know, there's a ton of things that go along, and for me, you also, you know what, it's been a while since I've played, but you still rely on a lot of your own experiences as a player. As much as so many areas of the game have changed, you reach back and some of the things that haven't changed, you know, you go through a tough stretch, what have you, you've learned, and the chance to impart that on players that are coming up, I think that's the real key. That's where the enjoyment is when you see players go on to have long, successful careers. So I think that's kind of where I feel that I have a strength in.
Hi, Kevin. Troy Hirsch with Fox 5 San Diego.
Troy.
Welcome to San Diego.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Andy gave us your resume as a player, 19 NHL seasons, apparently too many penalty minutes to count by your wife's count. Your style as a player, what was it, and will you institute that with your program here as well?
Well, I think as a coach, what happens, and I've seen this before, whether it's working with Joel or working with other coaches, that you know, we all see a game in a certain way. I don't know a whole lot about goaltending, but when I'm looking at a net, I've got a pretty good idea where there might be openings. I have that forward mentality. You have a defensive mentality. The one thing that I've always been proud of, and I've had comments or compliments on, I would say, is the work ethic of my teams. And I feel like that's what the San Diego fan base will look for, is a really hard-working team. They're looking for honest, sincere effort every night, and I can guarantee that we'll bring that every night. So a little bit of my style of playing. I didn't leave too much off the ice, and plan on, like I always have, is have our players playing the same way.
Bob, a question. 4 years ago, this time when you hired Dallas in the first press conference, you said the thing that impressed you most about him was his preparation, his attention to specific individual detail for player to player. What do you know of his traits? You were together in Portland, I believe. What turned you on to him?
Well, the biggest thing for me, and I have worked with Kevin in the past, I was coaching our AA affiliate when he was coaching Portland. I've been involved with training camps with him. But more importantly is he's been successful where he's been. And it goes to with what we've been saying. I know when Bob Murray was doing the search, we wanted somebody that's had success. And he's had success developing players for us. He's won this level. He took them to a conference final one year, and was a big part of developing the players that won the Stanley Cup in Anaheim. He's won the Stanley Cup. And, you know, you look at our organization, You know, we've got the people like Bob Murray, David McNabb that were around in 2007 when the Stanley Cup was. We've got Rick Patterson who's won 4 Stanley Cups over the time. He's our director of player development. We've just hired Daryl Sutter, who's bringing two Stanley Cups with his experience. So it's all about developing to win, and Kevin fits that, and that's what we really believe in as a group in our organization. Is a big part of development is winning, and a big part of winning is development. And Kevin brings that, and he's proven it not only with our organization but with other organizations as well.
Kevin, I have a follow-up. The AHL now is different than it was maybe when you were in Portland. It's surely different from when you broke in with the Whalers. How big a challenge is it to develop a culture where you have a revolving door roster that's constantly in churn, and you're taking kids out of the Canadian junior leagues, you're taking college kids, you're taking veteran free agents who want to get to the NHL, you're taking frustrated guys that have been sent back down. How hard is it to mold all that with a constant churn of your roster day to day?
Well, I think there's challenges in everything you do, but hopefully the churn is players that are doing well going up to Anaheim. That's the goal. And for you deal with that every single day. And I think there's always lines of communication with your group, and you have a real diverse, sometimes age mixture with players, and that's another attractive part about the San Diego is the Gulls have always supplied quality veterans in your lineup. And you know what, these kids have had a lot of experience, they expect a lot of feedback, and you know what, it's not always roses every day you come to work, but you know what, you go to work, you work hard, you try to get better, and I find that there's great satisfaction in that you go in there, you put the effort in, and then you know what, we live in a great place. Go out and enjoy your day. But while you're at that rink for those 4 hours, let's get our business done.
Hi, Kevin. Kevin over here. Eric Stevens with The Athletic. Congratulations on getting the gig here. Wanted to ask, you touched on it a little bit in terms of wanting to have a hard-working club. I'm curious as to what would you say is your base coaching philosophy, or even your base style on what kind of team you want to have on the ice, and how much has your philosophy evolved over the years or evolved over time?
I think it does every year. I think, number one, part of the way that I would answer that question, when you're the American League team, there is a level of symmetry between your NHL team and your American League team, and the style of plays. And I don't think you mirror that in every single way. To me, I've had some great conversations with Dallas years ago. We had a great conversation last week. It makes my job a lot easier coming in here that I have a relationship with him, and he's going up into the role that we are going to be looking to play. But to me, you know what, you take care of business in your own end, okay? We defend extremely hard. You play the game the right way in your end, and then let's go on offense. Let them go out and enjoy that part of the game. It's a little more creative side of it. It's not as coachable, but on the defensive side of the game, that's where you have to play the game the right way. So that would be probably the evolution of my game. As Fergie was nice enough to point out, I had some really good players the last time I was with Anaheim in Portland, Maine, and we let the dogs run a lot back in those days, and it was really a fun style of hockey. At the end of it, you know what, there's a level of defense that wins championships, and that's what we need to do.
Coach Troy Hirsch again. You mentioned your relationship with Dallas going back years. Could you just give us a little bit of brief history of when you met him, how you know him, and what your relationship is with Dallas Eakins?
Well, we would have played against each other back in the day. I think I've got a few years on Dallas. I know he's in a heck of a lot better shape than I am, that's for sure. But my brother Gord and Dallas were together in Toronto's organization. I think they coached there, 4 years together. And you know what? Just every year at the coaches' clinic at the draft, different times I may have caught one of my brother's games on the way when he was at Toronto. You go down to the locker room, you have a nice chat. So you know what? It's a coaching fraternity. It really is. Sometimes you're in different organizations, but you have paths that cross over the course of that. Brian Burke had a birthday party a number of years ago in Toronto, and Dallas and I were there and spent a lot of time together. So, you know, I think there's a mutual respect there. Nobody's could be happier for Dallas to see the road that he's taken and the what he's done here for the last 4 years. I think is just fabulous, and there's nothing like paying your dues, and it's hard to say you're paying your dues in San Diego, but it's a well-deserved spot he is in Anaheim, and we not only wish him a ton of success, we want to help him have a ton of success.
Kevin, Bryce Miller again from the Union Tribune. Some would say if somebody's the first at anything, the first Gulls coach in history, that might be a little easier because there's no roadmap, there's no blueprint, you're not following anyone's expectations. So how does that make, if at all, how does that make your situation different being number 2 for this franchise and also following Dallas, who was successful and is now back in the NHL?
Yeah, well, what really works for me, I had a chance to meet a number of our staff here, whether it's on the management side, on the trainer side, the PR side, and you know what? We're returning the coaching staff that was under Dallas, and for me, when you have all those assets right in front of you, it just makes your job a lot easier. And I think you end up putting your own fingerprints on things. There's things that we all do a little bit different, but in saying that, I look like I'm walking into a heck of a setup here, having the resources of all these folks that have great knowledge how they've done their business here in the past.
Kevin, what did you learn the most from the painful experience in Florida? As going to be a head coach a second time, will it be different? Do you have things you've taken from the ups and downs?
Well, there always is. I think, you know what, we all get older. You hit a few bumps along the way. You know, now my very good close friends back in Florida, I'll be cheering for them. You know, we had 4 fabulous years in Chicago. Our family was incredibly welcome there. We enjoyed our time there. We had success there. You know what, just over the course of it, your paths cross and things happen. You know what, the nice part is you meet so many good people in this game. So, you know what, a little painful lesson. There's definitely a sting when you get fired. That's what you sign up for in this business, so it's part of the package. So I get it, and you know what, you do pick up some things along the way. You can get into a ton of specifics, how you play, you know, personnel, different things. At the end of it, you better stick to your convictions and not be waffling in a lot of your decisions. You got to have a good, strong belief in yourself.
Okay, before we conclude here, Bob Ferguson will present Kevin Dineen with a jersey. After that, we'll have our one-on-one interviews behind us, and in addition to that, we have lunch prepared all the way in the back here, and it is prepared by our good friends at Surfside Deli. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thanks, Andy.